Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Today, I didn't daven Ma'ariv yet, so you'll read this Shayma by yourselves. It's sponsored Leilu Nishmas Sora Leil Shalom Bas David, a 10-year-old girl. I saw a family picture, unbelievable, big tsar, beautiful neshama. Okay. We shouldn't know from any more tsaras. Dear Reb Eli, I've written a couple of times before. Thank you. I'm a 15-year-old and in 9th grade in Darche. On Daf Samchal, right at the top of Amud Beis, Rebbe spoke about even if it looks like stealing, it's not a good habit. It happens to be that I'm a kohen, and when I go up to Duchen on Yontev, my friends in shul like to hide my shoes as a little joke. But on the first day of Yontev, which was Daf Samchal, a guest gave a little mussar of exactly what Rebbe was saying, that one is not allowed to steal even as a joke. That's the craziest thing. Not only did the daf have to do with Pesach, but it also had to do with other Binyomin Rosenfeld, things like this is what keeps me doing the daf, even though it's so hard to keep up with it. I see the daf really does change my life. I would like to publicly thank you, Rebbe, for all that he's done for me, not only the Gemara, but also how to live life as a proper yid. Thank you. Number one Talmud, Aaron Biber, dafer since Soita. I'm part of the Gibraltar MDY Kollel Baruch Hashem, says Simon, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Shisha, Schicha. How would you pronounce that? Shisha. Gibraltar, it's Givaldic, Gibraltar, but you ditched me 2 Pesachs in a row. He comes to Israel, I guess, and I'm not there. So at least I took the opportunity to come and visit the Beis Medrash while I was in Arb yesterday and to learn with this in this Heliger place for a few minutes with my up-and-coming dafer sons, Bezer Sisram. This way I'll feel even more part of the Hachaver. I've tried coming to you twice, so now you need to come to us in Gibraltar. Many thanks for you, for your incredible Avodas HaKodesh. Give us guys in little Gibraltar such chizuk, b'yididus, Simon Shisha. I hope that's the way you pronounce the name. It's tremendous chizuk for us that there are people in places like that are doing the daf from all over. Gibraltar, you hear? Send me Gibraltar. I watch you every day, and I'm 4.5 years into the daf cycle. I've learned a lot from you. Thanks. Peter Wexler, ESQ, the Wexler Law Group, LLC, the Kotel, no one. The Paris of Chodesh, Linish was Zechrya ben Moshe, Linish mas Zechrya ben Moshe, Linish was Zechrya ben Yosef. Linish mas Paris of Chodesh, the second one. Binyomin Rosenfeld, hatzlacha in business and all my endeavors. Paris Hayoim, Daniel Kahane. I think that's how you pronounce again. Kahane. Everything is small today. I'll read it from this screen. Maybe it's better. Daniel Kahane, in honor of Benjamin Aaron Kahane's bar mitzvah today at the Kotel in Mitzvah. Mazel tov. In the art of the month, sponsored by Anonymous, the zechus for Nizi's childbirth, his daughter, and a healthy baby. Let us know, Rabbi. Let us know when she has the baby, or if she had the baby 3 months ago. Let us know. I just want to let the olam know that our Kollel, they're taking 2 tests. One is the Shinantim test. The minimum that they're taking is 1,000 daf Gemara Rashi Tosfos, 1,000, and some are taking 1,800 daf Gemara Rashi Tosfos. And next week is the big Dirshu test on 1,800 daf that they're taking. It's crazy. The cumulative, that means we started Shas over 1,800 daf ago, and I'm proud of the Kollel. It's a tremendous undertaking to sit there. First of all, the amount of hours that it takes to do the test, and it's just very, very difficult to do something like that. It's just, they all describe it as just, you come out, you have such a headache, and so it's unbelievable. To know so much, and I wish them a lot of hatzlacha, we should daven them, Be'ezer Hashem. I'm very, very proud to be part of such an unbelievable Kollel. 2 tests, 1,000 daf Gemara Rashi Tosfos, and 1,800 daf Gemara Rashi on a Dirshu level of tests. It's unbelievable. Rabbi Sai, we are holding on the bottom of Samach Gimel Amud Beis, 5 lines from the bottom, Va'omer Rav Nachman. We have a bunch of cool halachas. Some of them are mamish, negela maisa. Some of them are almost negela maisa. We could see how they fit into our lives in many different ways. You borrow money from your friend. You say, I want $100. And you find in the pile $120. Is the 20 a gift or the 20 is a mistake? What if you find $117? Is there a difference between 117 and 120? So the Gemara says, yes, there's a huge difference between 117 and 120. If the loiva finds extra, if it's within a mistake that human beings make, so if the malva made a mistake, you have to return. You go to the store and they give you extra change, you have to return. We love, but if it's not a mistake, perhaps the guy didn't know how to give you a gift. He wanted to give you a gift. He knows you're not going to take one. So he stuck it in there between the bills. He gave you a gift. Says the Gemara, what's going on there? How did that happen exactly? If the mistake was made with 10s or 5s, then it's a mistake. If it's a mistake, you have to give it back. But if it's odd numbers, 1, 3, 7, or 2, 4, but not 5. So it goes like this. Let's say I have a whole bunch of coins. It happens to me. In Eretz Yisrael, I count a lot of shekalim because I'm constantly changing dollars into shekels. So it comes in a lot of shekels. I actually bought myself a money counting machine. Not a professional one. I bought one on Amazon. It was like $120. That's it. And so it happens. This mistake happens. What happens is as follows. You want to count these coins. What do? You start making piles, right? That's how I used to do it, especially with coins. Make piles. Here's a pile of 10. Here's another pile. So this is easy. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. But the way people count is they make a pile of 10 and they go 1. Then they make another pile and they say 2. And then they make Then they make a third pile and they say 3. They make a fourth pile and they say 5. So they just skip one. People make mistakes. That's how mistakes happen because you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20. Things happen. You skip a whole 10, right? You got what I'm saying? When you do a bunch of numbers and they say 1, and then do a bunch of numbers and say 2, you can make a big mistake. That's how they used to count then. But if you're counting straight, then there's no, if you go 1, 2, 3, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, people don't make mistakes. That's why nowadays it's less likely that there'll be a mistake, and therefore it's more of a matana. So let me ask you a question. 10 is a mistake, 7 is a gift. What if it's 17? 10 is a mistake, so you have to give back 10. 20 is a mistake, you have to give back 20. 50, even 5 piles. A person could jump because he can do for 5 piles, he can count every 5 piles as 1. The next 5 piles, 2. The next 5 piles, 4. He skips to 3. So 5 piles could also be, 50 could be a mistake. So what if it's an odd number? So says Rashi, once 7 of the 17 is a gift, then the whole thing is a gift. The guy tried to give you 17 as a gift. It's not like 10 is a mistake and 7 is a gift. The whole 17 is a gift. What if you know the guy across? The malva who gave you a loan, he's never the type to give gifts. He's not giving gifts. Never happened in his life that he gave a guy. Why would he give you a gift? Okay, there's 2 on the floor. It's a mistake. That was on purpose. So that's also a gift. Why? Perhaps the malva stole from you, and the Malva has no way to give it back to you without being embarrassed. So what does he do? When you borrow money from him, he sticks in the gneva. He stole from you $17 when he was a bacher. Now he's mature, he wants to do tshuva, he sticks it in there. Does that work? Well, if he's giving you money and he stick it in, then it works. He stole money and you return it by giving extra in some sort of money you have to give him back. Yartzeits, the mitzvah of a heshivus agzela. What if it's a person, this is the lashon of shakla v'tarya, right? Back and forth in the Gemara. If there's a person that you've never spoken to before in your life, so you never stole from him, so why would I think that you're giving back money to him, but you're giving him a loan? Isn't this weird? A guy you never spoke to before in your life, he's giving you a loan. What's going on here? So when I first read it, I was like, what is going on here? And then I remembered that when I first moved to Israel, I was only there for 2 weeks, and a guy knocks on my door. Shalom Aleichem. I have a organization. Is there any? Can I speak to you for a few minutes? Okay, he sits down. So, any small loan, $100,000. Is there any way you can give me a $100,000 loan? Like, first of all, what's your name? Where do you live? Who are you? No, I'm famous. That's just $100,000. Kids, sir, I realized very quickly these meetings and this. You know how to deal with it. But wasn't it? Forget Shakla. He didn't even live in my neighborhood. He showed up. Shalom Aleichem. After just recently, after that article in the Hebrew Mishpacha magazine about the shir, I guess there was too much about the guy wanted to make it cool, like, oh, as a businessman, he owns all this real estate in America, private jet. No, I don't have a private jet. I had a propeller plane. Okay, it's a little bit of difference. One is $20 million, one is $300,000. It's a big difference. Anyway, but he made it all gishmag. So then a random guy just showed up to the shir. He didn't come for the shir. He came like for the 5 last minutes. Okay. Anyway, so it happens. You don't even know the guy, and the guy's for a loan. You're right. You don't know this guy. But maybe somebody stole from the loiva, and the guy's embarrassed. When this guy will borrow money from you, do me a favor, stick in $17 there. I'm not going to deal with him. I don't want him to know it's me. It's like the famous Maisa. The guy goes to the Rishiva. I have a very private question that my friend was too embarrassed to ask you. Could I ask the Rishiva? So the Rishiva says, oh, what a shame. You should have told your friend to ask the private question as if it's for his friend. And then he would have been able to ask me the question. Kilu like he was asking for his friend. Okay. But anyway, here's a guy that's embarrassed to pay back the theft. So he tells his friend to pay back for it. Okay. So it's possible that there's a matana. Omer Rav Kahane. Havi yasiv the b'shili pirkei the Rav. Ma'aser shoya. Says Rav Kahane, I was sitting in a shir of Rav. B'sham is the ko'omar kari. He was talking about gourds, another gourd and a gourd. And I have no idea. Shalom Aleichem, anybody that's online now. I wish I could see you, but it's one of those. You see me and I don't see you. B'sham is the ko'omar, maybe people are on Zoom, but I doubt it. Kari gourds. I know, I see a number here. There's 18 people live. Still shvach. Not pre-Pesach numbers yet. Like the famous Maisa, I don't know let's say it was Reb Victor Miller. He gave a whole shmooze. He was gave a whole muster thing, and then so there's a new guy there. So somebody asked him, "Did you understand the whole shmooze?" He said, "Yeah, I understood everything. Just one word. What's Rebbeinu Shalom? I didn't get the Rebbeinu Shalom. I understood the whole shir, but I don't know what was he talking about? Curry, gourds. What's gourds?" So anyway, so the shir is over. Buzzer the Kom Rav Amrilahu. My curry the Kom Rav. Could anybody explain to me what's going on with the gourds? I kept on hearing him talk about gourds. Amruli Havi Kom Rav comes out a moir the Chiddush from Rav. Hayman the Yov Zuzali Gino. By the way, easy daf today. It's very geschmack. And Baruch Hashem, we're deep into Ezu Neshech. And not so. People are, so far so good. Hayman the Yov Zuzali Gino Akari. A guy gives money to a gardener for the pumpkins. The price is 1 zuz for 10 small guys, really small babies. And he tells him, you know what? You pay me today cash, I'll give you the large ones. So let's think about it for a second. How does that work in Ribis? If I give you money today to buy it, I'm getting a discount. If I give you the money today, so in a month from now, you could get more payros. That's called Ribis, basically. I'm giving you money today. Really, for the money, I could only get 10 small ones. But if you give me the money today and you let me hold on to it, it's like agar nater. I'm holding on to the money now for a month. And then because you're letting me hold on to the money, I'll give you 10 large ones. So what's the halacha? So the Gemara says like this. Isnu, if he has these gourds, and here we have a picture of Boisai, of a guy with the gourds. If he has the gourds, then great. Lesnu asr. If he doesn't have, then it would be asr. So ask the Gemara, Pshita. That's in Mefurish Mishnah, that when you do psikul peiros, you give a forward contract. You pay money today for somebody to deliver you something later on, and the price goes up, or whatever happens, it's asr unless we have the two conditions. One of the two conditions. One of the conditions are yeshloi. Yeshloi means if he has it. If he has it in stock right now today, then he can just give it to you today. The fact that he waited a month, that's your problem, his problem, whatever, but it's not Ribis. So what did Rav add over here? Rav said, if he has it, good. If he doesn't have it, not. That's a Mishnah. Says Gemara, so we have two Lashonis over here. One Lashon is, I would think, that since the gourd went from the green guy and was enlarged, all by itself, and became a giant pumpkin, I would think that's okay. That would work. No. You need to have them now. Kiman, Kaitano. This is another time. The Saya. Hahoylech lachloiv is izov, the ligzois is ruchelov, the lirdois is kivartov. Somebody's on the way to milk his goats, to shear the wool off his sheep, to remove the honey from the beehive. His friend meets him and says, I want you to sell me, or I'll sell you the future milk of tomorrow. There's no milk in the goat today. Tomorrow, you give me the money now, I'll give you the milk tomorrow. That's very similar to our case. Give me the money today for the gourds, you can have a larger gourd tomorrow. Give me the money for the milk today, you can have the milk tomorrow. So it's interesting because in Eretz Yisrael, just on May 1st, what day is it today? Today. So just today, on May 1st, the price of the milk went up by almost 5%. It's a big tumult, especially if you're in Kotel. The milk went up 5%. What are you going to do? So this guy, he knows the price is going up on May 1st. He jumps in. He says, listen, right before yesterday, he goes, give me your milk tomorrow. Okay, he made a great deal. He saved 5%. Whatever I share off tomorrow is yours. Whatever kind of honey I could take out of the beehive is yours. Now, what's the halacha? Listen to this, Rabbi Yisai. There's little delicacies over here. Why? Because, check this out. Again, it's a forward contract. I'm buying the honey that you're going to get tomorrow for a price we're setting today. Is that mutter or asr? Typically, that's asr. But here's the catch. The reason why this is mutter is because it's something called karev lahefsid kamal schar. When a guy purchases the honey that he's going to get tomorrow, he doesn't know how many gallons. How many gallons of honey? You have any idea how much honey the guy has? I don't. I'm guesstimating. I'll give you $100 for your honey tomorrow. It could be 5 gallons, it could be 4 gallons, it could be 10 gallons. I don't know. So my loss is close to my gain. In other words, I don't know. We're locking in a deal now. I might lose, I might gain. 50-50. Ribis, interest means the bank knows. That's what we're discussing here, Bechil. The bank knows I'm giving you $100 today. The bank is going to get back $105. That's ribis. That's ribis suit. So we make up a deal. Over here, I don't know. I'm going to pay 100. I might get back 105 worth of honey. I might get 95 worth of honey. So there's a hefsid and a zechar that are equal, 50-50. What's also this idea where it's Horav l'schar, more likely you're going to win, less likely you're going to lose. Rachik lehefsid, Horav l'schar, Rachik lehefsid. It's you consider it a Russia. Okay. So therefore, all these cases, I'm buying the milk for tomorrow, mutter, etc. But if he told him this specific amount, give me the money today, and you're getting 3 gallons of honey tomorrow, or milk tomorrow, 5 pounds of wool, whatever honey I could get out of the beehive, also. Why? Because I'm paying less today so that I could get more tomorrow. What is that called? I'm paying less today to get more tomorrow. Ribis. That's awesome. And even though the milk is coming by itself, even the lesson of Aishato, also, since he doesn't have it right there, it's also Igdamri. Igdam Rava. Even the Memelo Koravu Shachadam. Says Rava, since it. Sorry. So we're going back. We're talking about the gourds. That even though the gourds become more on their own, they go from the small to the large. Even the lesson, since at the time when you made the deal with the gourds, if you go back to this gourd guy, at that time it wasn't there. By Shados, then it's also. And some say Rava says as follows. Keep in the middle Koravu, Shaper Domi. Some say, and this is a more you hear what's going on here. You're gonna love this. Since the gourds, you made a deal on the green gourds when they were small, and they became larger and larger all by themselves. They became a giant pumpkin by themselves. That's okay. That's not ribis. What about the milk? If I make a deal on the milk today, for tomorrow it's also. Says the Gemara, when it comes to milk, it didn't happen. The milk didn't become more. The goat produced new milk. The shakli leilahai, because if you remove all the milk today, there'll be different milk tomorrow. But by a pumpkin, you hear. Wake up. It's geschmack. This pumpkin went from being a baby, this exact pumpkin got large. If I, let's say, do a deal on this tiny horse, and he grows up to be a big horse, that's mutter. But if I make a deal on a small car, and tomorrow I'll buy this car for $10,000. Tomorrow you say, you know what? The $10,000, I'll get you a bigger car if you wait a week. That's austere. Why? Because it's something different. One is a small car, one is a large car. What if I say, I'm going to buy this pumpkin right here? And the guy says, you know what? If you wait a week, I'll give you a large pumpkin. I'll give you this pumpkin when it gets large. That's mutter. Why? Because this pumpkin got large. Nothing happened. It happened by itself. So what if I give you a different pumpkin that became large? Mutter also. Anybody? Also. The halacha says, halacha l'maisa, that this only works with this exact fruit. I make a deal on these 10 pumpkins. When they're small, when they get bigger, it's mutter. So maybe it only works in certain items like fruit and animals. I don't know anything else. Can you think of anything else that becomes larger by itself? An eved. Okay. I hear. What else?
Any animals. Yeah, any animals. There's not so much else that's going to go by itself.
Okay.
Because you don't have by karka. I would say by trees, but you don't have by karka. Yeah? Wheat.
Right, it's karka. You're right.
maybe if you have a tree that's not connected to the ground, you could say it's metalton. Like you have one of these, like those orchards or whatever.
It's not. It's training up of.
Maybe.
I hear. Okay, those kind of things. Omar Abaya. Did I jump? Over here, the gourd is growing from within itself. When you remove this, nothing else comes in its place. So maybe, perhaps, you could just throw in here. Why not? When we learn one halacha in Hilchas Ribos, and then another halacha in Hilchas Ribos, and another daf, and another daf. So it's not like we're taking this and we're putting this. It's one giant masechta, and the more we learn, it grows, it grows. And at the end of this masechta, we have a kinyan. What's going on here? We're middle of neshech. Some of us are middle of neshech. Some of us are going to go back and do a little chazara, because we had a little Pesach going on here. It was difficult. A completely new halacha. We're going from one halacha to another. Shmakish stuff here. A person can tell his friend, let's make a deal. I'm giving you 4 zuz and a whole barrel of wine. But you have to take responsibility. Eat takfa. If it goes bad, that's your problem. So Rabbi says, is that a sale or not? I'll buy from you this barrel of wine right now, but if it goes bad, then you have to take responsibility. Now, the Gemara continues, the case. Iyokri, zilo, if it goes up in price, down in price, b'shusti, it happened with me, Marishus. So, Rav Shrevi doesn't like this. Why? Think about it. I give you $100 for a barrel of wine, and if something happens to the barrel of wine, that's the seller's problem. So was it sold or not sold? It doesn't sound like a sale to me. It sounds like a loan. The buyer gave $100 to the seller, and if something happens to the barrel of wine, the seller has to take responsibility. So he's holding on to your money. That's not a real sale, says Rav Shrevi. That's more. This guy, the buyer, is gaining almost everything. If something goes wrong, it's all up. It's all on the seller. So that should be a rasha. Karev l'sachar. He has more chance of gaining, very little chance of losing. That's ribis. Looks like ribis, or not looks like ribis, but it's a rasha. Not true. The buyer is taking something upon himself that if it goes down in price, it's on him. So therefore, it equals out. If it goes bad, it's on the seller. If it goes down in price, it's on the buyer. Okay, so now they're even. It's 50-50. Says the Heilige Mishnah, sponsored in appreciation of Reb Eli and all of the MDY Hachaver. Oh, yeah. We got the sponsors turning with that. Thank you. By Kidnovations in honor of my Uncle Reb Elchanan Pressman and as a zechus for Akiva Simcha Ben Feiga. By official Mitzvah motivators who's on his way here to Chicago, and hopefully we'll see him tomorrow in the shir. I don't know, tomorrow might be in the middle of the wedding, but on Friday during the shir. In honor of the Levi's responsibility for the daily Ner Talmud learning, by the Gewirtzman brothers for Yartzeits, of our grandfathers, Hachaver, Moshe ben Yerachmiel and Horav Eliezer, Moshe ben Shayma Zatzal, show up where an official comes, impress him, show him what Chicago is all about. Says the Mishnah, if the lender lends money, the lender shouldn't take advantage of the borrower by using his home and sleeping in his bed for free. Why? That would be ribis. He lent you $100, and now not only is he going to get the $100 back, he's also going to sleep in your house. You shouldn't live in his chatzar. Let's see what we have here. We have some pictures, I think. So first of all, here's one picture of the malva sticking through the window. The loiv is chilling out, and also, there's Yoshi wanted me to point out that there's a lot of money on his night table. In other words, that was from the loan. Here's another one. that he shouldn't live in his chutzner for free. He shouldn't rent for rent, so don't rent from him for less. Mipnei shehu ribis. That is considered ribis. Why is it ribis? The lender gave a loan, and in addition to getting back the whole entire loan, he's also getting the benefit of the rent for free or less. Now, do you recall that we just learned recently, in the last few days, there's something called, one more click. Mashkanta benachiyasa. What's that? Anybody remember? AB, you remember? Mashkanta, you're not days yet? Okay. Pesach. Mashkanta benachiyasa is very simple. Means that if the borrower gives the lender collateral, a field, using a field as collateral, and then the lender uses the field. He uses the payros, the fruit from the field. So we said you could deduct it from the loan. So he could use it and deduct it from the loan. It's called nachiyasa, you deduct. So why over here, when it comes to real estate, sleeping in the guy's backyard, you cannot deduct? So Rashi says because when it comes to the backyard is always available, it's always there, the bed is always fresh, it's there, nothing's going to change. So it's also, when it comes to the borrower using the fruit from the field, sometimes it's fruit, sometimes there isn't, so there's more of a reason to be matter, because it's not 100% going to happen. Right, this was one of these halachas that was a little hard to comprehend. If I have a piece of real estate and it's not for rent, and you have a place to sleep, and you sleep in my apartment without asking me, you're a, what is it called? A squatter. The squatter doesn't have to pay. Why? Because of the famous halacha and concept called zechus. It's not for rent. I'm not trying to make money off of this, and you're not benefiting because you have a place to sleep. So you're not nehena, I'm not losing. So says Yosef, even though the halacha is throughout chaps, so if the malva didn't lend money, he could go into Loiva's backyard and pitch a tent there, and the Loiva wouldn't be able to do anything about it. He wouldn't be able to demand money. You could kick him out, but he can't demand money retroactively. A guy comes from Eretz Yisrael to collect money here in Chicago, and he found the guy that took him in, and he's here in the guy's house for over a month. And the guy's like, listen, don't your wife and kids miss you a lot? He goes, oh, Taka, you know what? Give me a day or two and I'll make arrangements. So the guy's, okay, good. You got the hint. Day goes by, all of a sudden there's a knock on the door. The guy's wife shows up with 12 kids. The Balabas said, you missed the wife and kids, so here we are. Okay. So, the guy lives there rent-free. You don't have to. But if you lend him money, but in this case, that you lend money to somebody and then the lender takes advantage and uses your real estate, then the lender has to pay for the rent. Says Gemara, my Kamash wants the Chiddush. Tanina, we learned. It says before in our Mishnah that a lender cannot use your real estate for free, has to pay for it. Says Gemara, so that's the Gemara word for word in Bava Metzia. What? I would think that's only because the real estate was for rent, and the person and the lender, he needed a place to sleep. That's why it's awesome. Avol, that's what our mission is talking about. But what about a case where the loiva is not renting out his place, and the malva, the lender, doesn't need a place to sleep? So if he slept there, I would think it's not a problem. Komash malon, that's a very big problem. So what comes out? Rabbi said, listen to this. Here's halacha l'maisa. Yeah? If I lend you money, you cannot give me a favor. You cannot let me sleep in your house. As Taisves, what's going on here? Have you never lent your friend money? If you lend your friend money, you're not allowed to borrow his car. If you lend your friend money, you can't go borrow a carton of milk. That's what it says here. If I lend you money, I cannot sleep in your house, rent free. So let's see Taisus inside. Things are boring. The bottom Taisus. 2 lines from the top. Why I can't, just because I lent him money, so he can't do me any favors. Okay, so things that you're not used to lending. Okay, I get it. So you're not going to lend him your $200,000 car. You're going bias like your house or your sus or a horse. Gewirtzman, what about the simple things? The drill. I can't give him a drill because he can't give me a drill because I lent him money. So Tais goes on to say, only things that are very obvious, that's what's also. Like we're going to talk about using the guy's slave, sleeping pitching a tent in his backyard. At the end of the day, things that are not so obvious, like lending him a drill, nobody sees it, that's mutter. Giving him a bottle of milk, mutter. Why? Without this, he would have also lent it to you. Another thing he says, we're talking about the guy walking into the chutz or pitching a tent without permission, going into the guy's house, making himself comfortable. Why are you so comfortable in the guy's house? Oh, because you lent him money. You think you're so hot because you gave him money so you can come in and do whatever you want? No, that's awesome. But a regular favor, that's okay. Good. Next. I'm saying you should look at it.
Is that considered a form of ribbis? That's why you can do it?
Yeah.
Right, that's what we're saying.
I'm giving $100. I lend you $100. Now I'm sleeping in your house.
Right.
2 nights. But I would have slept there anyways 2 nights. We're good friends. So it depends on the thing. That's what we have to see. If it's something that everybody sees, you're lending him a car. Oh, everybody says, why is he lending a car? Because he lent the money, so now he's nice to him. If it's something that you always lend anyway, a small thing, a shovel, this, that, go ahead, take it. So you have to think about these things. It's Nagel Maisa.
That you're saying thank you. Thank you for how
You're not allowed to say thank you.
You're not allowed to say thank you. Why can't you say something that's normal that people do? So he's just being nice. What, that be a header for?
No, because over there, the thank you is on the loan. You gave back $100 plus a thank you. Over here, it's $100, and you're sleeping in the guy's house, but you would have let him sleep there anyway. The thank you is not on the room is not on the loan, but over here it's awesome. The room is awesome because everybody sees it. For us, this, that. Bigger things. It's outside. It's something that you don't really do typically. You don't lend your house out. Okay. Some say it was a little different. Even though when you live in your friends, typically when you pitch a tent in your friend's backyard, you don't have to pay him. Why? Because of so we're just changing one word here. But halveini v'dur b'chatzeri, the word is halveini instead of hilvo. What happened there? Before we're talking about there was a loan. And after the loan took place, the guy pitched a tent. The lender pitched a tent in the guy's backyard. Over here, we're saying no. This lashon is there. Reb Nachman was talking about a different case. During the loan, the guy said, "I'll give you $100 on condition that I can sleep in your house for 1 day. You have a nice place on the ski slopes. Could I borrow it for 1 day? Then I'll give you the loan." Oh, that's ribis. Not only does he have to pay back the loan, but he gets a free night at the ski slope. Oh, but what if they never discussed it? What if the loan happened and the guy happens to be in Vail and he sneaks into his condo over there and he sleeps there 1 night? That's not such a problem. Why? Because it didn't happen. It wasn't ribis ktsutso. What didn't happen at the time of the loan? So that's exactly what the Gemara says. Man Omar, if Reb Nachman was talking about hilvo, that they never discussed the condo in veil. He gave him a loan, hilvo. Kolchkin alveni. Certainly, if during the loan they discussed it, of course it's also. Both cases are also, whether you discussed it or didn't discuss it. However, but if you're talking about the simpler case, where during the loan they discussed, but I want one night free in your condo, that's ribbis. But if they never discussed it and gave him a loan, and then he used this condo, loy, that's not also my taimo. Why? Since he didn't have any intent to do that, to give him the condo while he took the loan, it's not a problem. Says Gemara's story, and then with this story we'll finish. It actually finishes on Amud Aleph. Very, very simple. A Geshmak's story. Rav Yosef Rav Yosef is the father of the very famous Rav. Takev Avdei, the Inche, he used to grab slaves from people that owed him money. So let's say you owe Rav's father money. You go over to your slave when the slave was like just wasting his time, watching YouTube, whatever. So you went over and grabbed him and said, listen, clean my car. Talking about the inch of the mask was Avad Behu Avid you worked them. So Rava tells his father, my time of it Marhachi. Perfect time, you get up like that. Why? My master, he called him in a very nice name. He said, listen, I need to learn Torah. Can you explain to me why you do this? Why? How's this allowed? I'll tell you why. I know Reb Nachman severely. I hold like Reb Nachman. Domer Reb Nachman, Avden crazy lishabi. A slave is not even worth the bread that he eats. Here we go. She made a beautiful picture. He's not worth the bread. So I'm feeding the slave. The master should be very happy with me. I did him a favor. I fed him. What does he do for the master? Nothing. He just eats, and he's not even worth the food he eats. I paid him for it. Omerlei, so Rava tells his father, the famous slave by the name of Dore, he used to dance in front of the storefronts like we see over here. In other words, a worthless slave. He didn't know how to schlep. He didn't know how to clean. He knew how to dance and make a few prutas. So he wasn't worth the bread that I spent on him. He wasn't worth the food I gave him. So says Reb Chaim Friedlander there that there's a Gemara that talks about Dore on the night of the Seder, and they asked Dore, they said, no, how does it feel to be a slave? Would you want to be free? He said, I can't wait, I wish. He says, look, Dore didn't do anything. He wasn't even a slave. He was a fake slave. All he did was dance. And he wanted to be free. He so much wanted his freedom. So Kolchkin Klal Yisrael, who were enslaved and they worked really, really difficult tasks, certainly we're lucky that we're free. Says Rava, but he was only talking about his own slave, Rav Nachman's own personal slave called Dari. But a regular slave, he's worth much more than the bread he eats. Why would he pay so much money to buy him in the first place if he's not worth it? You're right. I hold like Rav Daniel Bar Katino in the name of Rav. That what Domar. If you grab onto this is halacha l'maisa, you grab your friend's slave who's just being lazy, and you make him do work, you don't have to pay for it. Potter, why? A person is happy that a slave is not lazy. That you always find work for him. So I didn't have work for him. You found work for him. Interesting halacha. So Mela says, Rava's father, I use them not because of the loan, but because I'm doing the guy a favor. He says Rava, and this is very interesting. This is also halacha l'maisa. That it was only said when there's no loan involved. So you're a random person. You go over to a random guy's slave, and you grab the slave and make him work for you. But over here, there's a loan involved. Oh, so there's a muster called mechzik. What is mechzik? It looks. Yeah, like my famous mice. I love this mice. I'll say it again. It's mine with this. When I was, not that it's the same, it's just, the words are the same. I spent Pesach with a bunch of guys that weren't so, let's call them, they needed to do tshuva still. And they looked religious, but they weren't. And, they were over and everything basically throughout Yom Tov. And they asked me what I'm doing Motzi Yantav. I said the story. So I said I'm going to Tveria. We're going to the water over there. We heard there's a place that on Pesach they sell kosher for Pesach pizza. My kids love kosher for Pesach pizza. They love pizza. Wanted to try it out. Oh, let's go. These kids were waiting in line over there and has a hechsher, the whole thing. They're selling matzah pizza. These guys are not doing anything. They're not moving. So like afterwards, I go over to them. What's going on? He says, it looks like chametz. I said, it looks like chametz. You just mchal yantav. You're just doing this. You're just doing that. What do you mean it looks like chametz? It's not chametz. No. We don't need something that looks like chametz. Maybe real chametz will eat. But something that looks like chametz, that we won't do. But anyway, here's the idea of mechzik ribbis. It looks like, not ribbis. It looks like ribbis. Then what? You are owed $1,000 by that guy, and now you just grabbed his slave and you worked him and made him clean your car for Pesach. So now he's going to pay you back $1,000 plus you got a free car cleaning for Pesach. That looks like ribbis. Why does it look like ribbis? Because anybody in the world could go over to that slave and make him clean his car for Pesach, as we just Rav Paskin. That if a slave is lazy, the owner wants him to work and clean cars for Pesach if he has no work for him. You're giving him food, you feed the whole thing. Oh, so this looks like ribbis. Don't Rabbi Yosef Rav Nachman. Oh, and how does that have to do with our sugya? That we said in our Mishnah, typically speaking, if you are a squatter, you don't have to pay for it. But if the squatter lent money to the owner of the real estate, and you squatted there, you must pay. Why? Because it looks like ribbis. So going back, I should have shown this slide beforehand in the Mishnah. Why is right after the Mishnah? Why is it also for you, the lender, to squat in the borrower's property? Because it looks like ribbis. Mechzik ribbis. So Rava tells his father, you should not be using l'chayra. It's also for you to use that guy's slave. Why? Because it looks like ribbis. Omar lei. I love this line. I love it. Because I think it's godless. I think it's very, very difficult to tell your child, to tell your Talmud, Hadribi. I retract. You are right. You beat me. A father to a son. I don't know. I guess if your son was Rava, maybe it'd be easier. But whatever, he wasn't a pushover. This is also one of the Amoraim. Hadribi. I take it back. I will never use a borrower's slave again. You are 100% right. Why? Mechzik ribbis. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.